President Trump is threatening to take the tax return fight to the Supreme Court just days after a top Democrat formally requested 6 years of his returns. The president is fighting back, pushing a false narrative that he cannot release his taxes because they're under audit. Truth is, you can. Meanwhile, President Trump is pulling a 180 on shutting down the southern border, first claiming he would close it this week, then giving Mexico a year warning, and then finally saying he doesn't think he will ever have to close it. Let's discuss with Madison Gesiotto. She's a Trump 2020 Advisory Board member, political strategist, and attorney. Good morning to you. Welcome back.
Thank you, Victor. Good morning.
So let's start here with what the president said yesterday during this meeting in California. Let's watch.
Whether it's asylum, whether it's anything you want, it's illegal immigration, can't take you anymore. We can't take you. Our country is full. Our area is full. The sector is full. Can't take you anymore. I'm sorry. Can't happen. So turn around. That's the way it is.
Turn around. That's the way it is. Should the U.S. stop admitting potential asylees who believe they have a credible fear of injury or death?
I don't think this is about us stopping the admittance of these type of people, but I think it's about us taking a hard, long look at our system, and hopefully Congress doing that, and fixing the problems that we have. Our system's absolutely overburdened. We heard so many Border Patrol agents and judges and people over the past months talking about this. And so when we have tens of thousands of cases in backlog in the courts, and just recently, we're seeing migrants go up and up and up. Just in March, 100,000. We had at the border. Our system is not made to handle these numbers of people, so we need to make sure that we build a more efficient system to be able to handle this, and of course, only admit the people that have valid, merited asylum claims.
Yeah, but
when we
he's
even
not
look at
saying,
the family unit.
He's not saying decrease the number. He's saying we can't take you anymore. I'm sorry, it can't happen. Turn around. That's the way it is. You're
the
making
reason
a
why
nuanced
he's saying
point.
that is because of
not.
the overburdened system. He's not saying we don't want people coming to our country. Of course we want to protect people with merited asylum claims.
No, but
of
that's
course we want
literally
good
what he
immigrants
said.
coming to this country.
Control room,
but
play it again.
You have to put it in the context, Victor, of what he's talking about.
Play it again.
He's not saying we don't want you because we don't want people coming to this country.
Whether it's asylum, whether it's anything you want, it's illegal immigration, can't take you anymore. We can't take you. Our country is full. Our area is full. The sector is full. Can't take you anymore. I'm sorry. Can't happen. So turn around. That's the way it is.
You're making a nuanced point, right? The president is saying, doesn't matter what it is. Illegal immigration, asylum, sorry, can't take you, go home.
Right, and he's referring specifically to that overburdened system. We need to address this overburdening of our system in order to be able to take people. We can't have a system that just possibly can't take one more person because there's no space. So we need to make sure we address that so that we can take the people. So right now, no, we're overburdened, but this will be addressed. And like I said, this is something Congress also needs to be addressing. When you even look at what we're seeing with family units coming, this has increased drastically because of our laws that need fixed.
So
193 fake families have been apprehended. And we need to protect children.
Madison?
We need to protect people coming from all of these countries.
What is the president's plan?
Is to continue, number one, to work on the border and to work with Congress to find a solution to this. We
work
have
on the border is very vague. What is the plan to deal with the numbers of people coming here to seek asylum?
Sure. Number one, continue to address the issue we have in regards to border security, as he has been doing. He's been committed to this. He's committed to the safety and security of the American people.
How does border security compare with people coming to seek asylum? If they come to the port of entry, right, in the way in which the administration wants people to request asylum, that is not a border security issue.
Right, but what I'm explaining is part of the problem that we're facing with the overburdening of Border Patrol is the fact that our border is not secure. And so we have people coming across, and that's burdening their resources, their time. These Border Patrol agents can't possibly do all of this. They just don't have the time or the resources. There's not enough of them. So that's part of the problem here. Again, going back to the point I was making is for many, many years we had Republicans and Democrats in the White House, in Congress, promising to address this, and nothing got done. And so I really hope this is the turning point where we see something change.
Well, the president has made several promises this week in which he suggested he would close down the border, and then he said that he would go to tariffs in a year potentially, and then close down the border. Let me ask you about the wall that the president calls a wall. It's really a fence. How does what the president went to, I guess, receive his plaque yesterday qualify as what he promised during the campaign?
Well, number one, he promised border security. He promised that the American people would be protected and that the crisis on the border would be addressed.
He promised a wall
and that's
that
what's
Mexico
going
would
on.
pay for. That was a fence that the U.S. taxpayers paid for that Barack Obama approved in 2009.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. Yes, Barack Obama did not approve this. He said that they wanted to get this done. But guess what? The funding came from President Trump's administration. So it finally was funded. It doesn't matter where it started. I'm just glad that it's finished.
Is this, is this a wall? How does this qualify as a wall? Especially the wall that President Trump, as candidate Trump, promised during the campaign.
You know, as far as I'm concerned, and many people across this country are concerned, we're concerned about border security. Whether this is, you want to call it a fence, a wall, whatever you want to call it. You know, President Trump says you want to call it peaches, call it peaches. But it's protecting the people of this country. We want to continue to approve miles and miles across the border that have been contracted. We're waiting for funding on that. And I mean, when we see the drastic numbers, I think that will result in terms of drugs going down when it comes to them coming across the border, people of this country being protected.
But the majority of drugs that come into the country come through the ports of entry. So.
All right, but that doesn't matter. But there's still a lot of drugs coming across at those points that we don't want to see. I mean, and again, I've said this to you before on this program. I'm from Ohio. People across this state have been most affected. They have been dying. I know people who have passed away as a result of this. And so when we have fentanyl coming in enough, you know, across
and a lot of that comes through the
parts
mail.
Of the border. Right. And we need to address all of these things. It's not just a single issue. It's a multi-layered issue. And part of that layer is addressing the fact that we have an unsecured border where enough's coming across to knock out a significant portion of our population. And so we need to address that. I mean, to say that we don't just because other drugs come in other places is just silly.
Madison Gesiotto, thanks so much. We'll be back.
Thanks.